national sports holiday and Selection Sunday. I'm very excited about our program, our players, our administration, everyone affiliated with the city of Columbia. It takes a village for these days to happen, and it's a lot of people behind the scenes that may not get the credit, and I want to thank them as well. Our guys, as a staff, we're gonna, figure out who Utah State is. They're a great team, as well as every team that got selected and earned this right to play in the big dance. And it's something that, as a coach, as a player, these are special memories. And I'm just thankful that our players get to really, experience this. But also we have a job to do, and that job requires us to study our opponent the best we can. And that's what we'll do tirelessly from now until game day.
Questions?
Dennis, do you have a reaction when the number and the opponent pops up, or is it just, hey, we're in, and the rest of that initially it isn't a big deal?
Well, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for the opportunity. It's a lot of great teams that won't have their name called at all, and it's unfortunate. But, I'm a proponent for expansion of the NCAA tournament, and a lot of good teams are going to be left out. I'm just fortunate that we are representing our conference and our institution. And I'm not sure if the final tally has come out yet of how many SEC teams are there, but I truly believe that nine teams from our conference deserves the right. And again, it's unfortunate for those great teams, great coaches, and good players that's not able to be a part of such a tournament.
That's when you see Utah State. I don't know if you know Coach Odom at all. Any initial impressions of anything you followed them at all this season?
Well, I have a lot of respect for the Odom family. Actually, I spoke to his dad probably less than a month ago. He does a great job. It's well documented what he was able to do, what Coach Odom was able to do with with his run the last 2 years, 3 years. He's a tremendous coach, a great coach. Nothing but respect for he and his program. Again, we're excited to learn more about them as they are going to learn more about us. That's the best part about Selection Sunday. Both opponents get to start from scratch on who the opponent is, and we just have to do our homework, and we'll continue to do so.
Dennis, in your experience preparing a team specifically emotionally for the NCAA tournament, is that any different than season long, any different than conference tournament? What do you do in that way in the next few days?
That's a good question. In terms of preparation, I think preparation begins in June to continue to get your team to a place to compete at its highest level. Our conference schedule or non-conference schedule does that with different styles of play. I think the coaches that we've been able to face throughout the season allows us to get to know who we are in certain situations. Again, I won't be able to cross-reference until I dive deep into Utah State, and our staff does the same. I'm excited to see who we could compare Utah State to based off of who we've played previously. And it may not be anyone. They may be very unique, and I just know Coach Odom does a great job in this program. My hat's off to him. I'm excited to represent our conference, our institution in such a prestigious way.
Is there anything particular just in terms of emotionally or just getting their heads right for the NCAA tournament that's different for you?
No,
when you
I'm
look
excited.
At this week?
I'm excited about it. Our season prepares guys for that.
Dennis, when do you start watching tape and things like that? And just kind of similar, I was going to just say, what do the next few days look like?
Well, right now, my staff is doing that right now as I speak. They're cataloging all our games, but also our opponents' games, starting with Utah State, and then we'll break down in thirds, no different than we've done this season. Each assistant will be responsible for a scout, one for Utah State, pretty much as the primary, but every coach on our staff will have a hand in that. Then we'll figure out that other bracket. Right now, the total focus is Utah State. Without a doubt, that's the most important game. The other most important opponent is ourselves, making sure that we are doing the things necessary from a preparation standpoint moving into this week. We have a good travel distance to go. We've traveled before this season, so we're excited to be able to execute our travel plans and get ourselves prepared for a competition.
Coach, you went to the NCAA tournament as head coach at Cleveland State and a handful of times while you were at Florida State. Does that experience help at all going into it with your first time with Missouri?
Yeah, all the experience helps. Whenever you have guys in your program experience tournaments, tournament style, but also situations where you have to travel and prepare, all those experiences matter. You know, as a player, I think when I was at Cal, we had to travel to Pittsburgh one year, and then we had to travel, I want to say, to Memphis another year. Those things count, and you just want to be able to prepare the best way you can. This is where all of the things that you've done throughout your year becomes a reference point. Your strength and conditioning coach, your athletic trainer, your academic team, also your administration. Everything that we've been doing thus far is very important moving forward, and we're excited to build out the itinerary so that we can get prepared for our game.
How do you feel like coming off Nashville, your team's playing, and especially the last 2 days, how do you think that prepared them for the tournament that's upcoming?
Well, we fell short of another goal, without a doubt. And, you know, my hat's off to Alabama. Great team. As you guys can see, they were the number one seed, right? And rightfully so. They've done a tremendous job building that program, Nate Oates. And they, in fashion, won today. That doesn't mean anything necessary going into the future. I think the NCAA tournament adds a different dimension across every bracket, and may the best team win.
Dennis, I think 4 of your guys, maybe 5, have played in an NCAA tournament game before. How do you draw?
You said
the-
how many?
I think 4. Your Cleveland State guys, Nick and Kobe. How do you balance between
Ben Sternberg
and
played
Ben
too.
Sternberg played?
And Gourmet Jacques.
How do you find a balance between, hey, this is a great experience, embrace it, and also we've got a game to play too?
I don't think I understand the question.
Well, just for the first timers, I guess, that have, like a Dre Golston, it's never gotten this far. You want to soak up that experience, but also it's a business trip, like you guys call it. to
Yeah,
go
it's a
win
business
games.
trip, no doubt. I think when you look at the big picture is this: it's a special thing to have your name called. It's a special thing to build a plan together and try to move forward. I was fortunate enough to play to coach in an Elite 8 game. I'll use my experiences. Our staff will use their experiences. But as players, they've won championships before in their life in different areas. And we have to all use those experiences moving forward. They prepare with what I've told them to prepare for, and that's been April 1st and April 3rd from day one. So hopefully when we say those that didn't experience the NCAA tournament, that it's been talked about already amongst a Nick Honor, which was very important to have him here in this program because of his NCAA, but also his experiences, not just in the ACC, but while he was at Fordham, while he's been growing up playing basketball. Those things matter, right? Kobe Brown was fortunate enough to be a part of one. You look at the kids from Cleveland State. Ben Sternberg actually, I believe, scored in the NCAA tournament game before, whether it was a free throw or not, but I think he got in the box score that way. Gourmet Jacques played, Demoy Hodge, Trey Gomillion. Hopefully, when I talked and referenced April 1st, April 3rd, that Dre Golston or Caleb Brown or those guys that hadn't experienced the tournament before, that my interpreters, those that have played for me, those that have been in an NCAA tournament, told those guys those experiences. And we've talked about it weekly. We've talked about it being one of our goals. But it's just not one of our goals to be in the tournament.
One last question.
Dennis, I know that you and your team expected this and have talked about this all year long. Do you get a sense throughout the year, or just being out there with these fans that were there, what this means to kind of the fan base and the people that support this program for this to have happened in year one?
Well, I think everyone's excited about it, no doubt. It's part of our tradition. And whenever you're doing things that's traditionally been done, you respect those that come before you even more. It's not easy to do the things that we've done. I'm not doing it alone. Our staff has done a tremendous job. Coach Dickie Nutt, Coach Kyle Smith-Peterson, our associate head coach, Charlton Young. But there's also a handful and even more behind the scenes that may not get the credit that they deserve. Ryan Sharbaugh, Matt Klein. We have an unbelievable staff that I believe has had their hands in this. Even Michael Fly. Those guys have done a tremendous job. The biggest thing, and when you look at the organization part, Chase Goldstein has kept us organized from the very beginning to the very end. And it's a lot of things that can go wrong when you're traveling that can add to stress. We want to minimize stress in this part of our season and just get safely to our next destination. And obviously get acclimated to the time change, get acclimated to the weather change, get acclimated to the environment, and go out and give our very best. These guys are gonna, yes, have these memories in their memory bank stored for a lifetime. But hopefully, in that lifetime, we have more memories to add to this season. And I'm excited about it. These guys had questions. That was your second question, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who didn't ask a question?
I just want to ask, I know yesterday you mentioned, we'll see, you hope you'd be in the tournament,
Yeah.
but did any time during the season, did you feel like you've done enough?
Well, I never feel that I've done enough, and sometimes the insecurities of others, sometimes touches you, and I have to always protect the emotional part of myself and not allow the outside, whether it's your schedule's not good enough, whether it's how did you lose this game or that game, to be a part of my guys' thinking. I want everyone to have the type of confidence that we deserve, but also the vision that I have for this program. And oftentimes I speak with Desiree Reed-Francois, and we just try to talk about, where we were, but also where we're trying to go. We're not satisfied with just being the seed that we are. We wanted to win some championships in the regular season. We wanted to win our conference tournament championship. We fell short of those goals, but that doesn't mean shooting for the stars you don't land somewhere else. And we're obviously landing, and we'll figure out where that destination is once tournament play starts.